why should I be rushed or put under pressure by anybody? And I'm just like, why are you monitoring my life? Like, monitor your kids.
Ask them, please.
I'm like focus on your own kids.
No, God, I know I'm gonna do it. I know you're gonna do it in your own time. However, you know, Auntie over there got to me on Wednesday. Now I'm back for Friday service, and then Uncle over there. It's just kind of like, I'm not gonna lie, I've had to avoid certain service days.
I said, as for me,
Yes! We will serve the Lord.
Serve it.
like, she's not coming to church because she has no man, or she's coming to church, or she's coming to church because she doesn't have man. Like, no matter what you do, they're gonna talk.
Exactly.
No matter, you can't please everybody.
You're very picky. You're too this. You're too that, and I'm thinking, but why shouldn't I be picky though? What do you think? Do you think I want my marriage to?
Welcome to another episode of Sound Words, where we are joined by 4 beautiful ladies who will be talking about being Christian and single. Are you fed up?
Well,
Because that's one of the... I was talking to a single friend of mine, and she's a Christian, and she's reaching an age that, you know, society is telling you need to be married. And in her talk, it was more frustration than expectation, if that makes sense. It's just like, because everything is, I'm doing everything. Like, I'm doing like where I demand. Like, are you guys fed up? How do you deal with society pressures? How have you coped with dealing with guys that are time wasters and separating those that are, you know, there for the right reasons? Any of you guys want to take that first?
I don't mind going first.
Yeah.
So I'm turning 32 this year by God's grace. And
Are you being serious?
yeah. So I'm going to share a little personal thing about myself this year.
Yes.
So I think about 2 weeks ago, my dad was in a conversation with his cousin. And then afterwards he finished his conversation and he went, that my dad should pass me the phone. So I was speaking to my auntie, and my auntie started going on about Nigerian culture and the Yoruba culture and about how the woman normally in the culture has the child first, but my brother's had a child before me. And then, to my surprise, guess what she told me to go and look for?
No, what did she say?
Does anyone want to guess?
To look for a man.
No, it's a sperm donor.
Yeah!
So, she turns around and goes, look for a sperm donor by 3 months and give you 3 months.
Jesus.
Just get pregnant, it's fine, it's nothing, just get pregnant. It's, you know, afterwards, blah, 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 blah.
No.
Now, normal me, like if I wasn't in the word and if I wasn't like in God and everything, I think I would have felt sort of, do you know what, just let me do it, that's what everyone is doing. Just let me just do whatever. At the end of the day, everyone is having a baby and whatnot, why don't I just go and have one? But at the end of the day, it's all about praying to God and asking him about the vision for yourself. So it's like being fed up is not even an option, because it's like reading the stories in the Bible, it's just not about reading it, it's about waiting for that promise. It's sort of like in the Bible, like God made a promise to every single generation that came again and again and again. And in as much as you wait within the time frame of the promise and what God has said, everything will be well and your journey wouldn't derail. One thing that stands out to me the most is the story of Abraham. And it's a thing whereby his wife Sarah did not want to wait, and she thought, okay, she'll give God a helping hand. And like, here we are today in this world, and we have a problem with that's why we have a divided nation, because not waiting on that promise. So I wouldn't use the word fed up. I wouldn't personally say I'm fed up, because if you're in Christ and if you truly take in the word of God, there's nothing called fed up. Like literally when she said that, I literally laughed and I like called my sister immediately, and I just like started like cracking jokes about it. But there are certain things that does make you fed up. Like you're thinking about, for me, it's the age, it's the obviously I've got friends who've had kids already, and it's just kind of like, oh, how would I go through childbirth and
there's that pressure as well, like, you know, what has been said, that after a certain age it's difficult for females to have kids, or how can you start a family late, like, so I can understand a reason, but obviously what you've said as well is like, if I'm a Christian and a Bible believing Christian, then whatever he say, she say, it's just, do you know what I'm saying, it's just crazy, but I would have been hurt. I would have been
Oh no, I actually took it as a joke. I found it very funny. Because it's not the first time it's been said to me. I've literally, even people in the church I go to, a few of them have approached me and said like, we're giving you to the end of this year, and this was like 2 years ago when I turned 30. And I was just like, the moment I turned 30, I just stopped caring about timing and
What's this thing about? Sorry, do you guys want to talk on the fed up thing quickly before I go into the age thing? No? Yeah, what's this thing about this 30? Like 30 seems to be there. Because this is my analogy. I always think about it. Like, okay, if you're gonna live by God's grace till 60, 70, 80, and somebody's rushing you to do something at 30, if you're planning to live to 70, you haven't even lived half of like how long you plan to live on this earth by God's grace. So why are you rushing me to then be like, what's the deal with that? What's the deal with the? Why is 30 the golden number? Does anyone know?
I think it's just a mentality. I don't know. I like, you have to ask them. No, because I think it's a mentality thing. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. If I was like at like 40, 50, and I saw like a young sister in the church, she's not married yet. Me too. I'd probably be saying 30. You know, because I think ideally from 20 to 30, you're going to school, you're going to uni, you're getting a job, you're getting yourself set. So 30 is then the ideal time for all of that to have been sorted and settled down. So they probably say, okay, 30 is now, what else are you waiting for? That's what I normally hear them say. You've gone to school, you're working, like so what's left? So by 30, people expect that all these things should now be in place, because ideally the man should come, ideally, I didn't say by law, ideally the man should come and then, you know, be taking over certain responsibilities financially more than anything else. So by 30 you should already have your career sorted, blah blah blah, and then by 30 you should now be ready to just sit at home and enjoy. Yeah, exactly, to an extent.
What do you think? How have you dealt with the age thing? Like,
I'm not 30 yet. So I've still got a bit of years to 30.
But you're getting the pressure now, you know.
I'm getting the pressure, but not so much because of age.
Okay.
For me, it's been more because, like my sister was saying, like, okay, yeah, you've got a job and, you know, you've got a car, and then, you know, you've got a business and all of that stuff. So people kind of look like, you know, they kind of look at me and it's like, oh, are you trying to be a career woman? Do you know what I mean? It's like, are you just trying to be an independent, strong woman? You don't need a man. And it's just like, but who said that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, just because I've achieve these things before marriage doesn't mean that I don't want to be married. So I think that's where the pressure comes for me. But I think I've just got past the point of letting it bother me.
That's true.
Yeah.
Have you had to develop a thick skin as well? Like, where it's just
how I look at it is everyone's time is different. So whatever anyone says to me doesn't really bother me. And I sort of go by my mum's time. Like my mum didn't start having kids till about 30. So I'm like, if she didn't start having, why should I be rushed or put under pressure by anybody? And I'm just like, why are you monitoring my life? Like, monitor your kids.
Ask them, please.
I'm like focus on your own kids. I feel like there's other things that young single ladies can get done within our times, from like 20 to 30, or even beyond that age of 30. And people don't, like, marriage is this like big crown that if you're married, you're like wearing this crown that single women are not apparently wearing. And that sometimes, I don't know if it scares me for people to have that mentality, because it doesn't mean you're not whole just because you're not married. I feel like when you're married, it's two people that are whole coming together. So if I'm not whole and I'm getting married, I don't want to be a liability to that man, if that makes sense. And I don't think they're looking at that. They just want you to get married. When we get married, are you the one that's going to pay the bills? Or like when we have kids, are you the one that's going to look after the children? And all these, they're not thinking about that.
Sorry, I want to add one thing to everybody was saying. I feel like it's a big part of it is you finding peace within yourself, because like based on what everybody has said, to kind of link it together, you know, people are coming to you saying one thing, you know, you're not 30 or you're 30, this, that and the other, I'll give you to the end of the year. Okay, that's fine, but when you're content in yourself, like okay, no worries, mommy. Yeah. Okay, and that day will come, your gele, Abby. Yeah. Then I'm like, gele, yeah,
Where's
your
my
gele.
gele?
Do you know what I mean? Don't worry,
You
we'll
want
do
my
gele
gele?
now. You want to chop rice? You chop. No
But
problem.
you said something interesting which I want to touch on is how do you deal with that, like obviously having that peace when the pressure is not just coming from random people, but it's coming from family members, it's coming from the church, it's coming from even sometimes your best friends or your friends. How do you deal with that pressure of, okay, I'm gonna and still be uphold God's standard in that process, if that makes sense? Like I still love them.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I've started avoiding people and going to places.
That's
No,
what
like I'm not gonna lie to you. Some people will know, but they don't know why. So when the pressure started coming from church, from certain people I respect at church, I'm someone, I've got a very, very sharp tongue. And I had to literally tell God that, God, I know I need to manage like my anger. I need to manage my the way I come across to people. Anyone who knows me personally will know I don't mean any harm. However, if you meet me for the first time, or if you see me smiling with you all the while and I switch it up on you, you just literally turn around and be like, whoa, this girl did not come out from the right house. So I'm not gonna lie, to be honest, I've actually limited going to church.
Seriously?
It's because it's a thing whereby you have to for me, it's a thing whereby I've got other things that I have to sort of like think about as well. So it's a thing where I'm someone who's very like short-tempered, and I know myself. And if I know that I'm going to see a particular person and I know what they're about to say and it's going to trigger me, I'm going to question myself. Am I going to go there? Is that where I want to be right now? If that's not where if that's going to trigger me, I'll rather avoid, because there's only so much you can be like, okay, God, I'm waiting for you, and you know, God, I know I'm going to do it. I know you're going to do it in your own time. However, you know, Auntie over there got to me on Wednesday. Now I'm back for Friday service, and then Uncle over there. It's just kind of like, I'm not going to lie, I've had to avoid certain service days.
Seriously.
And it's got nothing. It's just personally for me, that's how I can deal with it. Some people wouldn't deal with it that way, but with me, it's like if someone keeps coming at me with the same thing all the time, before you know it, I'm not trying to come out of the Christ-like behaviour. I could just switch it up and just be like, no, do you want me to tell you about your life?
Do you feel like sometimes, maybe I'm not saying that it's right, but do you feel like sometimes you have to just tell them once, show them that side of you once, so that they can, because otherwise, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like if you don't nip it in the bud, then they'll think that it's okay to
do you know what? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because if, for example, she's noticed and identified that she has anger, it's coming from anger issues. By God's grace, we have overcome it now. So she had anger before. So in that time before, if somebody was to approach her now, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because if she now says it, and you know, people can you can say something now and people can say, you see now, it's because she's not married. You see now, she's not married. Because now you see, take it easy. But if you talk, they will say something. If you don't talk, they will say something. So no matter what you do, people are gonna find something to talk about anyway. She's not coming to church because she has no man, or she's coming to church, or she's coming to church because she doesn't have man. Like no matter what you do, they're gonna talk.
Exactly.
No matter, you can't please everybody.
You.
If for her, if for Massey, she's happy to do it like that, and that finds her peace. The things I tell people this year has been revealing to me is that you need to make sure you're happy. Your happiness is the most important thing, especially when you're single. The happiness is the most important thing, especially in the Christianity faith as well, because if we were Christians, we may be doing some madnesses. You know, we'd probably be doing some things we shouldn't be doing because we're single. You know, but because we are children of God, we have to take on certain behaviours and characteristics. So obviously, if she's happy to grow and get better in that sense, let her do it. People will talk no matter what you do. They will find something to say. So
I like that, and that's, do you know what I'm saying? And as well as growing thick skin, what you're doing is obviously you don't even allow it to get to a stage where it even bothers you, because when you keep negativity away from you, you can't get inside you. Do you know what I'm saying? If you don't go around it can't get inside you. So it's really good. It's really good. Do you want to touch on that quickly before we move on to the next one?
I do feel like maybe it should be nipped in the bud. Maybe there's one person you need to make an example of, so they can go and tell them. You know, like,
you know what the thing
so they can go and tell the rest. Oh, my loss is
Don't go there.
Like, because sometimes you just gotta make that one example out of someone in church, and all the rest will look at you and you're like, you're right. When you come in, so maybe.
No, do you know what the thing is? Because for me, I've got it from, and I really think for me, I see it from the point of view that everyone, they do come from a good, like they are coming from a good place.
Yeah, it's just
And the thing
delivery
is
as
just
well,
kind of
yeah.
like you always. One thing I always.
Oh, no, so I don't
She
think
says she doesn't
everyone
think
is.
everyone is okay. This is how I see it. Our parents' generation, majority of them got together for the sake of having kids, or for for societal reasons. Okay, your dad knows my dad. Our kids are gonna get together, and then we're gonna grow the wealth, right? So I'm seeing it from that point of view that they really do mean well,
Married to
and
the
quite
family.
a lot of times what I get is, oh, you're very picky, you're too this, you're too that, and I'm thinking, but why shouldn't I be picky though? But do you think I want my marriage to end up like yours? Like, bro, do you think I want to sit down and not? Do you think I don't want to check certain things? But it's not certain. It's not what you mention to them. You personally, for me, I believe in praying for those who are not married. I believe in praying for people who are married as well. Like all my friends that are married, once in a while, I'll literally say their names and like mention their names in prayer, so that because in this day and age, even being married is a struggle, and it's not even as it is a struggle to be single. It's also a struggle to be married.
But I feel like with the marriage thing, it's like, again, with like go to uni, get a job, go this. Nobody actually comes to you and say, oh, how are you? Like in university, and them say, how are you in uni, or how's your job, or how's your work? So in marriage, it's like, oh, now you're married, just give us kids. Nobody say, how's your marriage going? So I think like they don't scrutinize it as much as if you're single, because it's like, okay, this is the next tick box, you need to quickly tick it. Which brings me to the next question of, how are you preparing yourself in singleness? Like, what are you, obviously you mentioned something like you've got your own business, you've got a job, you've got a car. I like how you pointed out a car, because some guys, that could be their criteria, you know? I can't be paying Uber for you. No, I can't be paying Uber for you to be coming back and forth.
Is that how you guys think?
No,
Maybe
this is what you
are
need.
like that.
But think about it. Hey, there you go, masterclass. We are learning.
Now, wow. Okay, talk.
So just think about it. So from a guy's perspective, it's like, okay, all right, not exposing myself too much here, but think about it. How many Uber ride am I going to pay for? It's cheaper to pay for petrol than it is to pay for Uber. Do you know
Why
what I'm
can't she
saying?
pay for her own Uber?
Sorry?
Why can't she pay
Or can't
for
she get
her
bus?
own-
No. I'm
Or
saying
train.
if you insist that I pay for your transport, it will be easier for me to be like, okay, actually. And even with the car thing, for example, the guy might be like, oh, can you help me get to A, B, C, or can you help me with this? Like, there's more interaction than I have to think twice if I see Mary. I need to.
Oh my gosh.
But no, but this is what I'm saying. Like, obviously from a female, you think, what's wrong with this guy? But from a male perspective, so obviously you've got all of that stuff. Before we divert, you've got all that stuff. How have you then found that? Is that make singleness? Or is that make finding someone else harder, or is it made it easier? Because like what you said very interestingly is being not. I don't want to say being picky. I think
But you have your
knowing what you
preferences,
want. Yeah, knowing what you want.
Yeah.
Because picky is like it's got a bad connotation to it. Knowing what you want, and
Standards.
people that say you're picky, that doesn't make sense. No, you have your standards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how has that affected your standards? And obviously, is that kind of made things harder, easier, and the rest of you? What are you guys like doing to prepare for in your single stage? What are you doing to prepare for marriage?
I would say it probably has made it a bit harder. I don't know why, but I guess, I don't know, there's this thing where guys say that maybe they don't want a girl that has, it kind of all together. Yeah, I hear it a lot.
Seriously?
So I guess certain guys probably won't approach me
Oh,
because then they
wow.
feel like, oh, she's got it together. It's weird, it's a mad mentality, but people do think like that.
These guys
So
are mad.
I think to a certain extent, it's probably made it a bit more difficult. But for me, I don't mind because I feel like if you don't want me that way, then you're not for me anyway. So it doesn't bother me. So it's just like, that's even good because if
It's filtered them out, and
it's
filtered
filtered,
out there,
exactly. So at least,
Yeah,
God
old
willing, when
boys.
the guy does come, it's like, I know that you're happy with the way I am, and that's not an issue. In
That's
terms
it.
of preparation, for me, like, purpose is big. Like, purpose is key for me. So I've just always kind of just focused on purpose.
So would you ask that question on the first date, like, bang, what's your purpose?
No, definitely not.
Put down. Guys sit down at the table and I'll be like, so what's your purpose in life? You're gonna go and do that.
Listen,
It depends. Okay, it depends. I wouldn't say like what's your purpose, but I have been on like a date with a guy and
Yeah.
it came up in conversation that we were just
Yeah,
talking
100%.
about like life and goals and all of that stuff.
I got a car.
Oh my gosh, like what is a car? Come on.
But I'll explain it. No, I'm gonna touch on the whole car thing in a moment.
It's big, isn't it?
No, it is big. I'll touch on it in a moment. I'll touch on it.
I don't get it.
I'll let you finish. Just hold on.
me.
No, just let Maria finish, and then I'll touch on that.
Where was I?
You were talking about
It was like
purpose and stuff.
Yeah, so that's one way anyway, like purpose. I wouldn't necessarily ask a guy on the first date, what's your purpose? But obviously it would definitely come up in conversation. Other things is personal development as well.
Okay.
So like developing myself. I'm a big believer that like how I kind of build in my single life is it could affect negatively or positively my marriage life. So for me it's like I'm single, so I might as well use that time to develop myself. I might as well use that time to build and like not necessarily just like monetary stuff, but just build my character. And those are kind of things that I believe keep marriage going as well.
Okay. So Mary, just before I bring it back to these guys.
Yeah. Right. So I remember turning 25, and because I went to university late. And I made it my ultimate aim because some of my friends started having kids at the age of 16. And I am so bougie. My friends know me, I'm bougie.
Yeah.
And
So
waiting.
for those that don't understand, could you just explain?
Bougie is, how can I explain bougie?
Is it like you know
It's not necessarily, no, bougie is just kind of like, nah, I want things this way.
Yeah.
Bougie is more like it's how you carry yourself with certain things. I'm bougie with certain things. So certain places I eat, I don't like eating in certain places.
No, definitely.
So
You don't go Nando's,
so
you go to...
No. I do go to. I don't have anything wrong. No,
Nando's,
nothing. There's nothing wrong with Nando's.
You don't go McDonald's, basically.
No, I don't.
There you
But
go.
no, that's just
Bullshit.
no. That's another reason though.
Yeah.
But I remembered like looking every single time I got to the bus stop and like looking at people with prams and having to wait. There were like 2 spaces or 3 spaces on the bus to get on the bus. And like you're sitting down and you're looking at people
Once it's full,
with
you can't get on.
no, once it's full, you can't get on.
And
You're
you could be
waiting there for an
half
hour.
an hour.
For half an hour. And that depends on where you live. And then I sat down and I said to myself, before
There's
I
no
leave
way.
university,
There's no
my
way.
aim is to get my license. I said, I don't care, like, even if I don't get a car, but I have to have my license before I leave university. Because, like, if the next year or the following year, all of a sudden, boom, get married, have a baby, blah, 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 blah. Do I see myself standing at the bus stop with a pram? I literally turned around and I said, nah, I'm not doing it.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, just quickly, I shouldn't. But just to add to that, I was like that as well because I was like to myself, like, my kid cannot be getting on the bus. If that means I'm
Okay, I'm not that bougie.
No. Because now I remember I was at a bus stop one time as well, and I saw that happen, and I'm like, this is not life. And I remember the lady, it was like people were getting on the bus and they were just left at the bus stop, and that kid now started to become a burden to a situation, and I just think to myself, simple solution like I said never mind. Essentially, I had that same at that moment,
and that is for me. That's the reason why I was just like, okay, I have to make sure. So when it comes to preparing yourself before you get married, that was one major aspect for me, because for me it was just all about, if I'm bringing a child to this world, I have to make sure that child is going to be comfortable no matter what. And sort of preparing yourself while you're single for me is thinking about what sort of family life do you want to have. There are certain personal views that I have about like how the house chores should be done and stuff like that. You have to sit down and think about it, and like when you do meet that viable partner, you guys need to sit down and have the nitty-gritty conversations like house chores. Are you happy to do house chores? Will you be doing it? And it's certain things like, if you're, as a woman, you're more than happy to do all of that. There's so many things you have to sit down and think about, like, okay, what if he doesn't do it? Would I be happy to do it? What if my husband is out of job for a little while? Would I be more than happy to step up? Because you will have some women who would be like, hell no, a man should always provide no matter what. Nah, he should always do this. So it's during my time of singleness, I am preparing myself in every single aspect in such a way, like, if it means that learning all kinds of food, I don't know who I'm going to marry in the future. They might like all kinds of food. For me, takeaway isn't the one. That's me personally. But you have some people who, like, they wouldn't mind if their husband went to go and get takeaway. It's something so small. Are we going to pray together as husband and wife? I remember I was talking to a guy once, and I was just like, let's pray together. He's like, huh? And this is a so-called brother in the Lord. And it's like, yeah, I will go off and pray for myself and like pray by myself, and I'll pray for you too. But while we're praying together,
ladies, how are you? Or do you feel like there's an importance to get
So you get in a car.
No, not getting a car. No, to
I'm
like
just trying to
getting ready in your
understand.
singleness, or
Definitely,
how you're
yeah.
enjoying your singleness.
Definitely.
What
I'd say
are
I'm
you doing?
enjoying it, and I'm working on other aspects of my life. Like I've seen, like a few girls that are like, well, a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
But they've, how would I say, their walk or their journey has told me that like you don't need to rush for marriage. Like it comes at the right time.
That's it,
And while
that's
you're
it.
waiting, work on every other area in your life. Like
That's
make
it.
sure that area is up to standard before
That's
you're
it.
rushing, like or looking at other people's clocks, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely working on other areas, trying to build up my business as well, trying to learn how to save properly, looking into buying my own property. Like these are things that I'm working towards
You answer it
doing
as well now. What's happening now?
before trying to be someone else's missus or someone's
Yeah.
mum. At the end of the
Ooh,
day.
I'm gonna come back to that one. Just hold that one right there.
Do you know what, with this whole singleness, it's gotten easier with time.
Yeah.
You've learned how to adapt and accommodate it over time. It's gotten easier. I think a big part of it is your surroundings, the people you have around you, and there's some things you can control, some things you can't control. If your parents aren't together anymore, you can't control that. That's a home whereby there's no marital status for the parents. So obviously your mentality maybe. So my parents aren't together anymore, and you know, I've had my dad come and tell me, you better settle down quick, because they are saying because your mom and dad are not together, that means when you get married, your husband will break. I said, it's not possible. I said, unfortunately, if that's how, you know, you guys did your thing, it is well. I said, as for me, like I had to say to them, like it's where's your yeah, exactly, and that's why you have to be careful about the people.
Like rising up again.
Yeah.
I'm always praying against that. Like affliction cannot rise up again.
That's why you
And
have
all
to-
the
It has
to
generations
stop
think
with
it stops.
last
Yeah, it
generation.
stops.
Yes, that's why you have to be careful about your surroundings. So going back to preparation, for me, I started trying to, obviously before my friend my friend recently got married, and there was a phrase she said to me one day. She said to me, she's like, let's go out to one club. I said, I don't do clubs. I'd rather go to a church event and go to music, because that's what I genuinely love to do. And she was like, I was like, oh, I don't feel like going. She said, kept quiet. I said, what's wrong? She said, we don't go out anymore. You're single. I'm single. I said, yeah. She's like, yeah, we don't go out. She said, where are we gonna find these men? I said, audience. I said, no. I said, okay.
She sounds fed up.
Yeah, and I was like, and I'm older than her. And I said to her, I said, for me, my husband will come from wherever, whenever.
He will locate
if
me.
He will locate me.
Yes.
That's because I said, I pray for my husband as I am now. I pray, when I go, I'll pray for myself, this, that, and the other. But God, wherever my husband is, let this, blessing, this top, everything,
Okay,
everything.
let's bring back.
No.
You touched it. You went there.
No.
We're gonna go there.
But
We are going to go
I
there.
pray about him.
You are going to go there.
But yeah, so basically,
Okay, one second. So I'm a man that is very big in stature.
Okay.
And the Lord has really blessed me with wisdom
Hallelujah.
in areas where I lack. Do you know what I'm saying? So I find it interesting. You said something interesting. And do you think that ladies or some single ladies have unrealistic ideas of the guys that they want? Like, say for example, the guys, the common one. Let's go there. The common one. He has to be 6'2". Me, I'm 6'2" in spirit. He has to have everything together. He has to have his own house. He has to have no baby mama drama.
Yeah,
He
that
has
one
to
I
have,
can
yeah,
say.
He has to have no exes. So he's that handsome, that beautiful, and no girls. Doesn't have no history. He has to be a God-fearing man. So focused on God that he has to find me in God. But he's so focused on God, he's gonna have time to find me. And what's the other ones? Give me some more ones.
Like he's got a certain amount. He's got
he's got to earn a certain
like there are some unrealistic views that some girls will have 100%.
Yeah.
But I can't blame them. I can't
Okay.
speak for them, and why they have the mentalities I don't know. As for me, and maybe like my close knit, I know over time what I've learned to kind of be like, okay, this is a priority. This is not. I also
that's
have
the key word that you
have a younger brother. So over time, I had to, whenever I used to picture my kind of wants and desires in a man, I used to think, okay, I have a younger brother. If I was a girl to date him, is that fair? So for example, okay, my brother doesn't drive.
Yeah, okay.
He just recently got a job. So if a girl was to come and tell me, oh, your brother's nice, but you know, like I would be like, are you alright? Like he's alright.
Because
Like,
you're not questioning his
do you know what I mean?
character,
Exactly.
and
And you can't look at somebody now as well. They're still, like you said, we're going to live to, like, by God's grace, 60, 70, 80. If you're judging them now, only God knows what will happen tomorrow. So you have to look at the potential. So I have a friend where back in the days, maybe he'd be like, oh, I just want to be a footballer. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing
Yeah.
towards
Do you know what I
that?
mean? But then
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
have
yeah.
somebody that's like, oh, okay, you don't drive. Okay, but okay, why don't you drive? Talk to me. So basically, like, I'm trying to save for a house, and then also like I take care of my mum, and also my sister's in uni, so I have to make sure. Hey, we can't talk. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's somebody whereby you're prioritizing. Likewise, for me, okay, I could easily buy a new car, but it gets me from A to B. But my priority is property right now. And my dad, funnily enough, one day he said to me, "Oh yeah, by God's grace, when your husband comes, you'll get property." I said, "No. I said from now, this is when I want to start looking for property in my name. I could sell it. I could live there. You don't know. Don't say because I'm only gonna be something when I have somebody. No, I'll be going. They will join me and we'll go together. So that's the way I see
Let me
it.
just. I love the energy. You guys are really waking up. I like it. Basically, you can, one of you can answer as well. It's, do you feel as a Christian, you have to marry? Like, do you understand the question? So it's like, because I feel like a lot of the pressure comes from especially by then, it's like, is it a must? Or because I mean, there are people in the Bible that didn't marry. Do you know what I'm saying? But do you feel like there's this now? There's not even an option anymore. It's just you must marry.
So let's go back to Genesis.
Then to quickly, to quickly add to that is, do you want to marry? Which I'm saying, because if you don't have the desire to want to marry, regardless, all of this is pointless. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
let's go back to Genesis. It says, in the beginning God created heaven and earth. I believe that's what it says in Genesis. And like down to like verse 27, 28, it said like God wants us to multiply, dominate the earth. If you have the idea of God's vision in mind and you have God's sort of desires at heart, you would want to get married, or your desire would be to get married, to procreate, in order to have someone there that God has given you to look after, to also make the nation bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's the aspect of the willingness. If you're in Christ, your willingness would either be to get married, to procreate, or to serve the Lord and like have your whole heart and like just live your whole life. The second thing is, do I want to get married? Yes, I want mini-me's. If I want mini-me's,
that's genuine.
I would like a mini-me one day. Not too much, but I would like a mini-me.
Male or female, so you can actually dress up.
No, do you know what? I have reached that stage whereby all I want is my prayer every single day is a child from the throne of grace. That's it. Before I used to turn around and be like, I want all boys, don't want any girls are hassle. Seriously. I used to do all of that. But growing up and seeing the way society is and the sector that I work in, my prayer is just, I want children from the throne of grace, children that will obey the Lord like Samuel did at such a young age till he died. That is my prayer now. And for generally anything that I pray for, I used to have all these criteria about men and everything, but now my thing is, God, according to your will, I know you make everything right. So for me, as long as there's the good, there's the acceptable, and there's the perfect will of God, as long as it's within the perfect will of God, I'm happy.
Sorry, because of time. So with the marriage thing about how Christians meant to get married, it depends on what your understanding as a Christian.
Do you want to get married?
And
or as a Christian, are you expected to?
Yeah, okay, are we expected to? I think we are, but it all depends on your understanding of what marriage is. Some people I know some people that say, God revealed to me that this was my husband, so we're married. Like, as in, some people say spiritually we are married. Some people say, okay, like we just live together, so we're married. Like, it's not just about when you do the party and the actual B and all that kind of stuff. There's many other things that come to being married. So it depends on what your understanding is. As for whether I want to get married or not, of course I do. Of course I will.
So
you are all invited.
So claim it.
I think I got a little bit confused with the question.
Yeah.
I thought you meant that is everyone as a Christian supposed to get married, because I was going to go on, what about nuns and monks? Like, they're living for Christ, but they're not married, and I'm sure they're satisfied and
so
very happy. I think it depends. I think it really depends on the individual, if that makes sense. Because some people will just live for Christ and not think about getting married or having kids. But for me, I'll get married in Jesus' name. That's mine. I'll have kids in Jesus' name. So that's how I see it. Like, I was given birth to after, they got married after I was born. But yeah, me too. I'll do my own.
That's it, by God's grace.
I'm definitely expectant for marriage. I think a lot of the time when you think of people that don't want to get married and people that do, I think a lot of the time it's desire, and I believe that God puts the desire in us. It's not just for marriage, for other things as well, but I feel like, you know, I know that God has put the desire for marriage in me, so I'm highly expectant, and I will get married by the grace of God.
Amen.
And so shall it be.
Amen.
I mean, that has been amazing. And there you have it, man. Our ladies have been very, very, very real with us. They've not held nothing back. And I hope you've, gained something from that today. Like, comment, share, and check out some of our other videos as well.